Streams are up and running. Excellent. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Draco Software Codes part blah blah blah. I have been working on this project for a while now. I think we've been doing this for over a year or so. And we've made a huge amount of progress. It is an absolutely wonderfully working tool. It's not completely bug-free, but we have something that's really working. So for those who are new to this project, let me show you what we've been up to and why it's kind of a big deal. All right, so first we're going to start up a new project. And we're going to have to pull some kind of example. I don't know. Maybe we're measuring politicians, right? And we're keeping track of political activity. And so we're going to create a polling, exit poll database, right? Or website. That's something that we want to keep track of. So what we do is we can go ahead and we'll add an entity. And so first of all, if we're doing some kind of exit polling tracking system, we'll need a politician, right? And that politician is going to have a name, right? And that's a string, and a party affiliation. And maybe that's going to be an enumeration. We'll add an enumeration, and we'll have a political party. And, here in the U.S., we have Democrats and Republicans. And we have Libertarians. We have the Green Party. I can't think of any other parties. It's the two big ones and a couple of small ones. Hey there, Danny. Welcome aboard. All right, so we have a politician, and that politician... That guy is going to have a political party affiliation, which is of type political party, which is an enumeration. Didn't Chromium get replaced? I don't know. My VM might be well out of date. I haven't looked into it. But the thing is, this is a VM. It's not my day-to-day surfing environment, so I'm not super worried about it, but yeah, I should check into it and make sure that I am using a more modern browser. Yeah, well, about Chromium. 1510 version 50. So maybe not. Not sure. All right, we'll look into that later. Anyway, so we have our politician, we have political party, and we might have some other entities here. Right, we're going to need... Nope, my visualization broke. I don't know what that's about. But we will need a polling place. Right, and we're going to... And each polling place is going to have a name, and that's going to be a string. An address, which is going to be an address. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh this just in case. Exit poll. There it is. All right, yeah, there's my... Okay. Politician. All right, and then maybe we're going to have, we'll just toss a third thing in here, and this is going to be a an exit poll. And so our exit poll is going to have... we're going to give it a name. And then it's going to have a date, and it's going to be of type date. And what else is it going to have? Our exit poll is going to have a polling place, right? So location, and that's going to be a polling place. And then it would have a list of outcomes. And that would be a dictionary of integers, right? That's how many votes they have. But that would be a dictionary as keyed by politician. Well, no, that's actually interesting because, yeah, politician can't be a key type. I mean, I guess you could. That doesn't necessarily make sense, though. That's fine. We can just use the string. You know what? No. Let's change this. So yeah, there we go. So then we have an outcome. Maybe, yeah, we could do that as an integer politician, right? So now we're associating an integer and a politician with one another. And I'm not actually sure this really makes sense. I think it would make more sense to be politician integer, except that a politician would be an entity, and you know normally don't key on an entity in a key value relationship. That's not something that I would generally recommend. You know what? Here's what we should be doing if we're doing it correctly. Is that we would have an outcome, right? And then an outcome is going to have a candidate, and that's going to be a politician. And then an outcome is going to have a number of votes, and that's going to be an integer. And then this exit poll, I am going to go to this outcomes, and really that should be a list of outcome. That makes much more sense. That's a much better design. All right. So now we have our political parties, right? And then a politician would have a name and a party affiliation, and there would be an outcome as to which candidate got how many votes. And an exit poll would have a bunch of these outcomes, and each exit poll would also be associated with a polling place. And that's a really good start for building a model. Now, we say, oh, okay, that's great. That's all well and good. We've drawn it up, but what does that really look like? Well, so now we can go render code, and we can say HTML, bootstrap, and that's all going to download here. Oh, geez. I had some of my old skip it. All right. Some old stuff left in there, which means I probably have some other old cruft in my folder. Jacob model, test, yes, go into here. Yeah, delete those old files. All right. So these are the files. We just generated these files and downloaded them. So here's the exit poll, outcome, politician, polling place, political party. So those are all things that we have just defined. And so we can just go. So we're going to take that URL, pop it in there, and go to our test page. And here we go. Here's our politician who has a name. Doesn't have the political party drop down yet, so that's something that we should be working on. All right, but the polling place has a name and an address. The exit poll has a name and a date, and it doesn't have a way to add outcomes. And then we have outcome that has number of votes. And then here is our drop-down list of political parties. So Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, and Green. And so this is what would get, so these are all different segments that you can just copy and paste and reuse within your code. So the idea is that we take this, and then anytime that we have a politician and we want to say, hey, we want to give them a party affiliation, that we put that drop down there. So the other thing I want to do is independent. Okay. Just because I can. There it goes. And again, this is stopped working for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to have to go back and look at my Pixie.js code and see if I can figure out why that's hanging from time to time. But thankfully, it looks like the data is getting saved. Oh, maybe not. Oh, looks like that's not getting saved. All right, I'm gonna have to go back and check in on a couple of things. So we still have a couple of bugs. This is an alpha, so we knew that was going to happen. So, but the good news is, yeah, we have our politician pretty well done. Our polling place, name and address, exit poll, name, date, location, and so basically what we need to do is start building the associations between these elements. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at our enumerations, that when we are generating code, because we're clearly able to generate the HTML enumeration, we're seeing it here. Here's the enumeration, but it's not showing up here. Now there is at some point in time going to be some concern about extensibility of that, is if we start adding new potential values, how do those get populated? And that's a very good question, and we don't necessarily know a good answer to that, because HTML by its nature is static, and now we're talking about dynamic content being brought in regularly. So one of the things that we are doing right now in this page is we're actually using an HTML include, right? So we're importing these, but then we're using JavaScript to populate them and have them show up over and over again. So it basically means we're going to have to do one of two things. One is, if we have an enumeration, that we just reuse that enumeration text everywhere we have that enumeration. And that's the easy answer, and it's what we used to do in the 90s, and I have been doing web dev since the 90s. In the 90s, it was the only choice that we had in the early 2000s. Once JavaScript became a little more ubiquitous, though, that no longer was the only option to deal with that. So I think using JavaScript, having one master copy, this politicalparty.html, provides us with one kind of canonical source of what our political party dropdown should look like, and then we can import that and reuse that. So, for example, what we're doing here is we have, for each of these imports, we're taking it and we're just appending it into the body, right? So we need to now think about our enumerations, name them such that we can find them again, but then when we do find them, that we replace the content of the enumeration placeholder with an actual enumeration. So I'm going to go get myself some more water. My throat's really dry tonight. I'll be right back, and then we will get cracking on this. Light, get the ceiling fan going. Okay. So we're back. So this page here is, again, we're just going through, we're importing all of these things and then pasting them in this function. So really we want an index page that's a little smarter, right? Because we could just copy and paste this whole thing. Oops. And should, in theory, just go, but maybe not. Document. Let me And clearly it worked this time. Failed to execute append child on node 1 on node. Parameter 1. Oh. How very strange. Right. All right, so I'm able to pull up all of the imports. All right, so what I want to do now is with each of these imported items, and I am going to cheat a little bit. Because this is a static HTML page, I can just go into it and we can edit it there. And then we will take the edits that we have and we'll put it back into the application, back into our source code generator, so that anytime we regenerate the source, it'll have the new source code that we write this evening. So the first thing that we're going to do is, for each of the item, we have this import query selector. It seems to be working once. What we don't have is a name other than this href. So I am curious. I'm going to go ahead and just do, caps lock. And for each ID item, it finds a temp, and I'm just going to see what it comes up with. There we go. Now that's very strange. That is uniquely funktastic. These two are different than those three. How very odd. All right, I'll bite. Gonna go ahead and just load that. Refresh the page and just say imports. Right. Of course it's not, because I put the key down there. Window.imports. Let's try that again. All right, so there's all my imports. And then for each of those, it has a document inside of it. It's considered a complete document. So can I do imports 0? I'm sure I could, yes. Anybody knows right off the top of their head how to get the href of a link, that would be great. Otherwise, Ah, found it. All right. So again, this gives me a one-to-one mapping between the pages and the entities in our model, right? So we have this experimental model, or this nominal model of the system that we want the application to build for us, and therefore we can now quickly access and re-import any code that we have in there. So what can we do? So we can say imports, var imports is that. Now, when I did this each, it acted a little weird just a little while ago. So I'm going to try for var import idx in imports, just because I don't trust that each behavior, because it did some weird things. So and everything here. Var import, do that up here. Var import list. We'll just initiate that as an empty object. Import list, and then we'll access it like an array. Import idx dot attribute href is equal to you know what, I can just do imports import idx. That'll at least give me the reference. And for now, I'll have that in the global namespace, so it's easy for me to find it. Let's try that again. Forgot to use the jQuery. Oh, illegal constructor. Imports. You know what? Console log. Just make sure that we're looping through that right. Oh Jesus! That's not right. That's not right at all. What's going on? You know, what changes the nature of the thing on you, that gets old. All right, so now we're getting links instead of before we had not gotten links. And that's what I find bizarre, is that the nature of these isn't necessarily cast in stone. Right, so when I do that, I get this array of DOM objects. But if I refresh the page, I don't. I copied and pasted that. Right? I get this if I do it this way. Put it in there, and I refresh. I get that. JavaScript. All right, fine. We'll use this. So there's the outer HTML. That's what I wanted. Just gonna pull the first one out of that list here. Oh no, that's interesting. If I access them one at a time, I get what I expected before. For each. Right, and so now it's going through all of the attributes because it's not giving me what I expected. Right, and now this is all right. jQuery, have it your way. All right, fine, that'll work. Ooh, LiveCoding TV tells me if I add a PayPal email in my settings, I will get a donate button and be able to receive donations from my viewers. Huzzah! That would be awesome. There is a Patreon page. Not that we have any patrons yet. We're just getting started with it. But thank you, LiveCoding TV support, for that wonderful tip. Sorry, didn't mean to bounce everybody around the world like that. But getting back to what we're doing, we can deal with that kind of like getting paid financial stuff later because that's not actually really my primary focus here. All right, so here we go. We got our links. All right, so we got each one of those, and then if we refresh the page, is it going to be consistent on how it shows them? No, it's not. Look at this, right? Sometimes it does it like this. Sometimes it does it like that. That is really alarming. Object. In all cases, they are always considered an object, which is kind of a shame because I was hoping I could determine which one I was dealing with. This is not going to work. because this behavior is not consistent. All right. Every time I refresh the page now, it flips back and forth, but sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other. If type of item dot if it has an ATTR attribute, then I'm going to do this. And no attributes on any of those, and then, oh, no attributes on either of those either. Stores global variable temp1.htr. Oh, dot attributes. Okay. That's fine. I can deal with that. And then in that case, it doesn't have attributes. So now we're going to be able to determine, yeah, see, those ones have attributes. And so do these ones. Son of a pus monkey. Right, because that's... Alright, can we do anything to distinguish between them? No, we can't. You've got to be kidding me. Temp1 dot attributes 0 1. Oop. Relation is import. Named node map. And one is a thing. Like, why is that not possible? Relation equals import. All right. None of this seems to be working. All right. Time to redo from start. jQuery access rel attribute. No. Introduction to HTML imports. Yes, yes, yes. We covered this a couple weeks ago. And then they're using other tool. All right. Hmm. How do we do this, kids? Yeah, see, once the page is loaded, it's doing that very consistently. It's not giving us consistent... Yeah, see, right here. This is the problem. Right? Instead of giving it to us all as one type, like halfway through, something loads and changes the nature of the import. And so instead of having these, all of a sudden we have those. Right? And that's not cool. That's really not. All right. I think it is time to look at this and say we need a different approach to solve the problem. So load JavaScript, load HTML file. So loading the content into the page with scripts will make that content invisible to clients without JavaScript available, such as search engines. Use with care and consider server-side includes if all you want is to put data in a common shared file. And that's true. That's absolutely true. I was hoping to be able to get away from having to have server-side includes, so we're using a language like PHP or something like that, so that we would include the same content over and over and over again. I was trying to avoid that, right? See how far we could get without that. There are clearly issues getting that done, though, reliably. And there may be some JavaScript super guru out there that knows the way to cleanly and securely make sure that this isn't a problem. Although I'm really not sure that that's the case. This load, jQuery load, really? Might be that simple. This is a new load data from the server and place the returned HTML into the matched element. Well, folks, it doesn't get much easier than that. So it looks like we have a case of jQuery to the rescue, because this import thing, we worked hard on it. We wanted to do it all more in HTML, and it has failed us. So let's try this approach. If at first you don't succeed, slam your head into the desk until something actually goes. All right. So let's go ahead and do var sources, and we will make sources an array. And for that, we'll say politician.html, because that's one of our sample classes, and then polling place HTML. It's certainly political party .html. That's at least a good set to see if we can work with. And then, you know what? We're just gonna do that. And in our body, we're gonna put div class equals dot template dash political party. And you know what? This gives us additional flexibility. Let's use it. So instead of that, oh, no, we didn't want an array. Come on, NetBeans is trying to be too smart, damn it. Or not NetBeans, JetBrains, PHP Storm. Okay, so instead of just saying politician, let's go ahead and make a JSON object here, and so we'll say name politician source. You know what? 2 samples should be fine to start with. So this allows us to vary things down the road. If we wanted to change the mapping between name and source, perhaps we had to pull in a different source, a PHP file instead of an HTML file or something like that. This gives us the opportunity to do so. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, oh wait, there's no dot there. Instead, that dot goes here, template political party, and then we're going to load, and we're going to keep it simple for now, sources item 1 dot source. And we are going to cross our fingers and hope that that works. Holy crap, it worked. It worked for shot. Look at that. Yay. Okay. Excellent. Wow. That was pretty painless, actually. I wonder. If I have 4 political party things here, and if I refresh this, is it going to... Oh, it's going to load into every single one of them. See, look at that. That's beautiful. That is exactly what we want. Now, I am curious about what the underlying elements say. So let's take a look. Right? All right. So our div template political party is still there. And then our political party select is immediately inside it. So we're still going to have those template div tags, which is fine. It does make our lives much easier, because what we can say is, instead of name, we can say identifier, or actually CSS class. Oh. Right, and now we can do a for var source IDX in sources. So for each file source, we are going to find, we're going to go dot template dash and then whatever the hell the name of it is. So sources source IDX dot CSS class. And then we're going to take that same thing, go to that, and then we're going to break stuff, because that's what we do. Dash template sources CSS class load sources source IDX. So close. What did we break? And I say we, I don't really mean to imply that you helped break anything. It's all me. I know it's all me. Politician, political party. Well, all right, that worked. Politician HTML, political party.html. That worked. So what's the problem? All right, let's go back. One of these things is not like the other. One of them works and one of them don't. And why that is currently escaping me. Alright, you know what? Nope, that's new. No, it did not. That bug, the missing dash there, was template dash politician, template dash political party. That's why it didn't work. I had a capitalization error. Look at that. Very consistent capitalization error. My code was fine, except for my other code was wrong. But, you know, I mean, some of my code was fine, and it should have worked, except for that I was really reliably typoing. Just kidding. Damn it. I have one of those evenings. I think I'm in the middle of one of those evenings. And you can watch me have one of those evenings. It's great fun, I hope. Okay. Template dash politician, template dash political party. All right. Template dash political party is certainly a thing that should still be there. But yet when we do that, I get nothing. However, when I do this, I got another typo. Unbelievable. I do. I see it now. Political party all typos all the time. Huh. I think I might have a typo in my source. I'm wow, doing great here, guys. Pull to tickle party. Oh yeah, pull to tickle parties everywhere. This explains so much. I can't type. And look, my freaking PHP storm is even telling me, like, it's warning me that I'm typoing it, and I'm ignoring it, and go me. All right. Aha. That's a lot more convincing. Yes. So now, anytime I say, give me a politician, boom. Anytime I need a politician, it loads me up a politician. Now, the other thing that's interesting is, what does the dependency model in this look like? Because if I had a placeholder for politician within politician, we could have a circular reference and it could go on forever, and that would be a horrible, horrible thing. That's a different problem for a different day. For now, what we can do, though, is, I know there's a way, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Okay, and then I can change. Huh. Look at that, toggle class. Really? Well, okay, so that doesn't add class, so we can do a remove class, right? So we find our, inspect, element, template dash politician. Right, so remove class. Now, if we inspect our politician, nope. Oh. You know what? It is fine. I just didn't need that dot. There it is. Yep, and there is our politician without that word template in it. All right. So here's how we deal with that. So var to change is going to be equal to that. And then we go ahead and load them, and then we say toChange.remove class var class name All right, so we define our class name once so that we don't get, so we don't keep changing it or keep saying it over and over again. Right, and then we'll use this. Helps if I hit the right command there. All right. So basically, we go through, we find all the classes that have this template. And then we keep a list of who needs to change. Then we go ahead and we load them. The thing here is that if we loaded it and it's going to have a circular reference or something like that, then we want to make sure that we don't actually run the jQuery command from scratch again. We want to use this toChange group that's already existed. And so now instead of having all of these be in a template thing, now we are in a div that doesn't have any class but whatsoever. However, that's actually really good. Now we might consider doing some other tweaks, but I'll probably leave that for another time, right? But so we've done all that because we want the power of that to be this. If we come out to political party and say, you know what, instead of saying Democrats, I want to say Democrat, Republican, and Libertarian, and Green Party, right? And then maybe I want to add an independent. Right? And then I refresh, and then all of a sudden, all of these drop downs have the exact same thing, and we're reusing our code over and over and over again. And if we wanted to, this could be, instead of being an HTML page, it could be a PHP page or something that queries a database. And so that this content is dynamic, and then it is used to generate this over and over again without us having to change it every single time. So that's progress. It's not as much progress as we wanted because we had all of that fighting with the import routine, and that was actually far more of a pain in the butt than I had certainly expected, just because it was acting very strange. All right, politician, polling place. So we're going to just make sure that we're putting all of these out there. Nope. And there we go. So now we have template politician, we got template polling place, exit polling outcome. So it's not the exact same order. No, we don't care. Right, and now we can refresh this page. We can see all of the different parts that we have. And now So for example, our politician, this is not in a loop, and so this is not going to work right off. But the idea here is that we have, there's our politician, and then we can put in here political party, right? And actually, so long as, and we know that political party is an enumeration, so we know that that's a leaf node. So we know to always put those last. Yep, and here it is, in fact, last. So this one will actually work as intended in theory. Nope. Politician container. Oh, wait. Form group. That's the submit button, yeah. There's the name. Just out of curiosity. Okay, that did show up. So just dynamically loading it. Political party or something. Yeah, so here's that template. So it is showing up in here. All right, but it wasn't there in the first round, so I do wonder. If we did this again, would it show up? Nope. See what we can convince to show up here. Template political party. All right, so that's a thing. Oop. Well, showing up now. You know what? I bet there is a little bit of a lag between when I tell it to load and when it completes loading. Right, and so therefore, if I did this again right now, I bet it would work. Other than, yeah, sources isn't defined. Yeah, there it is. Right. Yeah, there it is with my new values injected to the middle of that page. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to say var load templates function and we can pass this parameter some other way later if we want. Okay. We haven't broken our page yet. And then this had a thing that when it completed, this load had a thing that when it completed, it would call something else. And there it is. That's what we're looking for. A recursive call to load templates. Now, the problem being is if you have a recursive algorithm, right? That's going to recursion. It is going to break stuff. So, warning. Self-references will cause infinite recursion. Pay attention to your spell checking since that all right. And then we can get rid of these. Double check, make sure the page still works. Yes, yes, recurses, does beautifully. All right. So it is 10:04. It's a little later than I wanted it to be, but let's get this back into our renderer. Goodbye. All right. Yeah, so here we load our entities, then we load our enumerations. We're going to want to do the same thing. All right, so all of this is happening now. Within our jQuery function. And we are going to pull up our code transform. This is going to make our lives easier. And we're going to say, you know what? Our entire jQuery thing goes in here. All right. For those of you not familiar with the code transform spreadsheet, this is actually just a quick open doc that I used. Oh. They put everything in one line of code. It's a quick Google Doc that I use to turn text into code that there we go. Yeah, source code generator or that our JavaScript can use. So instead of no, none of this is right. So this is the code that we want to turn into JavaScript that gets output. And so we take this, clear all this junk out, and we paste this in there. And we say this still isn't working right. Holy crap. All right, go back to our index page. This is the text that instead of running it, we want to render it to a file. We go to gedit, and we paste it in there, and then we pull it back out, dump it in here, and that's not working because of the tabs. Okay, fine. I can work with that. Gedit. So now our output, our code here is, instead of going to run this code, it is going to write this code. Aha! That's what I'm looking for. So it's going to write this code to file so that anytime somebody says, all right, make me a version of this, right, that it will actually just write the code for them. Oh, I'm a little rusty. It's true. You take off a week due to the holiday and just all your skills. I know there's a way to do a column-wise select, and I'm just not that worried about it. All right. One, two, three. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. So now here is where we define our sources. So this is where we're going through each of our entities. And instead of doing the import thing, we are going to have the name. And again, we start off with the one-to-one relationship between name and file name. It can get changed later if somebody's changing a file later, but you start with the one-to-one relationship, so it's really easy to understand. And then, you know, if people have to maintain it other ways later, then, you know, so be it. But the idea is that you start very consistently. And then we're going to do the same things that we did up here, but with enumerations instead of entities. Okay, so now all of these lines actually go away. Right, so now we've defined all of our sources. And now in this for loop for each of our sources, we pull up the data from here, what we decide to change, we'll leave that warning in there, run all this. And that's all fine just as it is, actually. Aside from the fact that that needs a tab marker as opposed to that, so that somebody can say they want actual tabs or spaces or what the hell ever, I don't care. All right. That was a long way to get to the point where now, hopefully, when we do our exit polling system, and we take it, and we say render code, HTML bootstrap, we download all of these files. We go to the existing folder of files, And that's in our test folder, and we nuke them. There they go. And then downloads. And we move those over, and this checking, delete. Yeah, skip it. Fine, whatever. Be that way. And we'll come back to our index page, and nothing works. What did we forget? Really? Nothing? Oh, look at that. These names are all wrong. Morning, hydraulics. Okay. So these names are all wrong. Look at this. I used the human-friendly name instead of the computer-friendly name. I keep track of both, right? I want the model to be in nice human-friendly terminology, and then that way anytime that we render the interface, it all looks right and makes sense. Not super handy for generating code. So yes, I need to be camelizing just give it a more distinct thing just in case I screw something up later. And then we will reuse that line mostly there. All right, that should be a little cleaner. The code that we generate should be a little better. Exit poll. All right, let's see here. And render the code to HTML Bootstrap. Let's try this again. Clear up the test folder. Goodbye, test folder. Grab everything from here except for this fiddly download that is stuck there for some reason. Whatever. Refresh the page. Still doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? All right, it's better. Still don't know why it doesn't work, but certainly that one problem is done. All right. Oh, I know why it doesn't work. Okay, should work, but it doesn't because our page doesn't have any templates, right? Our pages. So if we look back at our index page, right, we don't have any div class template dash politician. Did spell that one right, at least. And now if I refresh the page, boom, there it is. Okay, so it does work. But for our own sanity's sake, we're going to take one of each of these and put it in the HTML page by default, or at least on the index page, just so anytime we generate that page, somebody can tell that the darn thing works. So where do we want to do that? So we want to do that after the body begins, so that's going to happen right up here. So that is what we want it to look like. This is the code that's really going to make it happen. All right. So then Yeah, so we're just going to go div class equals template dash. Then we'll use that temp name because that's that caramelized machine friendly name. And then we end the div. Right? Yes, 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 yes. And again, we want to do our entities first and our enumerations later because we know our enumerations don't have any dependency. So they're always at the leaves of our dependency tree. Render code, HTML bootstrap, array, delete all, skip it, don't care, example, oop. I missed a closing quote. There and there. And we do it all over again because I missed a single closing quote. You know, I'm glad it's like 3 clicks to render code. It used to be much harder. Those who've been with us for a while know that before we got the database working right, oh geez, this was a real bear before we got the database working right. Oh hey, look, that download file's gone. Great. Because we used to have to regenerate some kind of model every time. Oh yeah, there we go. Politician, polling place, exit poll, outcome. And then these guys show up in there. And so now if we want to go into our politician, and we're just going to open that in gedit, and we can say here, right, if we just want to, just going to do this manually for now, but we're going to say party, and then input type. So here is where we're going to just do our div class equals, and we're going to say template dash political party. And there's the thing that says party. Is that the one that I misspelled? I bet it is. It is, isn't it? You are laughing at me. Because I can't spell things consistently. I can't even misspell things consistently. Yep, sure enough. All right, and there it is. So there's some formatting stuff, clearly, because it's not in the Bootstrap format, but there's our drop-down as part of our politician that we can just drop in anywhere we want, and you know, it'll look good. So that is really quite excellent. I think if we can just tack on form control to that. Yeah, well, kind of. It's not the one that I really wanted. So I'd have to mess with it some more to make it more bootstrappy, but whatever. It goes in the place and it does the things. This makes me very happy. So hopefully it makes you very happy too. So what all is going on from here? I will be taking the software, uploading it to a server so that people can check it out. And you can go to dracosoftware.com/dracomodel. I'll toss that in chat. There you go. And then what else can we do? Patreon.com/dracosoftware. If you really feel like it, if you're getting something out of this. You can come be a patron. I currently have no patrons. I'm making nothing, but that's fine. But I do want to start paying for the servers. Right now I pay for the servers out of pocket, but I'm not paying much out of pocket. But the idea is as this tool hopefully gains in popularity, the cost of hosting the servers is going to go up, and so I'm not going to necessarily want to be footing that bill by myself. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get, what about form tokens? So I haven't gotten into, in this case, I haven't gotten into the back end and processing form tokens and things like that. We can get into that. It really depends on how we want to start processing these and start interacting with the server. I'm going to guess, based on what we've done thus far, we're going to try to continue going down the route that we're going by enhancing with jQuery, because it's proven to be very powerful and very effective. So what we would likely do is handle form tokens once per page universally, so that all the forms on the page, regardless of their source, all got handled equivalently. So we wouldn't be writing that per form. We would try to write that once at a higher page level, and that might be kind of another JavaScript library that we include from the pages that we generate. So here, we have this index.html. Yeah. Wrong button. Wrong. Totally wrong. No, not what I wanted. So here, just like we're bringing in jQuery and Bootstrap, I'd probably put any form token handling stuff there once per page, and so that cross-cutting concern is just unilaterally handled. But I don't know yet. We haven't gotten that far. We're kind of building the plane as we fly it. So, if you have any other questions, thoughts, things that you think I haven't covered, now's a good time to ask. I'm just going to go ahead and commit my code and put it up on the server so that other folks can go and play with the tool if they wish. All right. Test files don't get committed. Yep, push origin master. All right. And now that's uploading to the server. This would be great as a desktop app. Have I considered Electron.js? No, I don't know what Electron.js is. I'm assuming it's something to desktopify. Okay, yeah, to make more desktopify some stuff. Okay. Certainly interesting, and I'm open to the idea. I specifically did this project on the web because I've done this kind of thing on the desktop before, and I found that it had some limitations. Deploying code generators are fiddly things. You find bugs, and then you realize the bugs are everywhere. You really want to put a patch out, and then having a way to distribute and load patches is really a pain in the butt. And you worrying about versioning and that kind of stuff. So I did want to move to the web to see how much of this I could get on the web, and it's been extremely powerful. How much of this I've gotten every single feature I've wanted on the web. Really, really useful. So the only stuff that we haven't touched on yet, we haven't experimented with, is reverse engineering code. So if you have a local database and you wanted to make a model of it, that you would have to go through some kind of model maker and then upload a file. And I don't see much way around that in either case. So I'm going to have to think about that a little bit. Certainly Electron.js, this looks pretty interesting. And I'll have to look into this more as things move forward. If there's, especially if people start saying, hey, I'd love to use your tool, except for, it's on the web and I want to use it locally. The idea is that this would be deployable on like an intranet server fairly straightforwardly, because it's MySQL backend, JavaScript front end, very lightweight PHP middleware. So again, it would be doable as a desktop app. I'd have to see what the demand was for that before I invested too much effort, because there's so much more I want to do with this. We're really just scratching the surface. The other thing is that now that we have, something like this working this far, I also kind of want to make a version tool where we make our tool using our own tool from the onset, just because I know it'll get rid of a lot of the bugs that we have in the system, for sure. So, all right, that is going to be it for tonight. I am extremely tired. I'm turning into a pumpkin, and my throat is tired of talking. I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out and doing stuff. This has been a fulfilling project. I'm not sure, how much more of this people want to watch. Because I do also have some augmented reality and virtual reality work that I'd like to start broadcasting, but my throat can't handle both topics at once. Built on top of Node, Chromium, Atom, Visual Studio Code were created using it. Okay, well, the Visual Studio Code was created using it. Okay, interesting. I have used Visual Studio Code. Not as good as the main Visual Studio, but that's interesting. I'll have to go into that. I did for a while there when we were talking about the backend for this. I went with PHP just because I was really familiar with it, and it's easy to set up on Google App Engine. I am not afraid of using Node though, and that would certainly unify a fair amount of some of the code that we have. So that would be one of the things that I really want to render code to, would be a Node.js middleware. And again, because then if we have MySQL on the back end, Node.js acting as middleware, HTML bootstrap on the user interface side, you're only dealing with SQL, JavaScript, and HTML as your languages, which would be a pretty convenient stack. And again, I'm really open to, I want to open this up so that other people can start writing renders as well, that it's not just the things that I would like. And even, that if people want to start saying, okay, they want to use a lot of this stuff like Electron.js, that, there might be a render setting in here that is, Electron-friendly JavaScript. Because I'm sure there's some decorating or something that you have to do to get it to go. But, there's a lot of just huge number of possibilities, and I appreciate the fact that folks are coming in and they're getting engaged and suggesting things like this. And yeah, I think we're going to be open sourcing before too long, so that folks can start exploring some of those things if they're not on my high priority list. It may be higher on somebody else's priority list, so that they can go explore that. So, all right, everybody, thank you very much for joining me this evening. I appreciate having you here. Do me a favor, if you liked it, hit the like, smiley, heart button, whatever it is that you're using on your platform of choice. Go ahead and subscribe. I try to code every Monday evening, except for when there's like a major national holiday or something like that. So hopefully I'll see you next week. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful week in the meantime, and I'll see you then. Take care.